Karl Brusino. You guys, I asked him to come in. He's a City of Niagara Falls police officer. Go Ferguson. Just kidding.
Okay. My name's Karl. I'm doing this on my own. I'm not doing this as part of the city. My first boss as a police officer is sitting right here, which was a surprise to see him. So good to see you, Chief. The town of Niagara from many years ago, and he's enjoying what I hope to be doing soon, retirement. For about 7 years, I was the Niagara County Director of Intelligence, and basically that had to do with a lot of gangs. Also looking at all kinds of stats and things. I'm not going to fool anyone into thinking I'm a 17-year-old street gang member. I was more into different types of organized crime, bikers, and stuff like that. I also, part of my motivation for coming here is I retired as a Major in the United States Army, and I was a Special Operations team leader that had 5 combat deployments. And so I can sympathize a little bit, and I'll get to the teenagers here in a few minutes about how it kind of affects me. I've known Brett here since he was little Brett, one of the original BC boys. Okay, those of you who don't know that, talk to him, ask him what that means. It was a whole interesting group that he hung with. And I knew Ann before she knew me because she was involved in something that I had some interest in, which was all about motorcycle gangs. So she was a biker minister. She ministered to some of the guys that I would go high on. So I knew a little bit about her before she met me, so sorry for your time. So, she has a friend named Joanne who helps out street ladies, and I used to do surveillance on her all the time because I didn't know what she was up to. So, anyways, there's people out there who do that. I will tell you that this is to the teens of Lexi's place. The last time I came home from a combat deployment, I had to participate in some pretty heinous stuff that affects me still. And in addition to that, I had a traumatic neck and head injury. And so, add to that, get off the plane. Is there people there with balloons saying, "Welcome home, Karl"? No, my ex, and I'm not going to blame her really, but she had taken my family and hid them from me. So I had no family, and I had just had some stuff happen to me. So I was in a pretty dark spot. So as I listened to some of your stories, and Brad comes up and tells stuff, and we'll get to you in a minute, whatever your stories are. But I mean, everyone's got an interesting story, and it was quite sad to hear. I could really relate to you because some of the things you go through as a teen are really not much different than a post-traumatic stress syndrome that soldiers or police or whoever else has. So I can appreciate that. One of the reasons why Brett and Ann have asked me to come here is to try to be an outreach to younger people. I think Brad said really smart stuff, that there's really not much going on for that age group. There's stuff for all kinds of things, and I think Brett said it as well. I've coached a lot of teams. I know little Byro over there he wrestles with my son at Niagara Wheatfield. So I'm familiar with that. I teach martial arts, so that might be something we incorporate later on as well. And I've talked to little Byro about that as well. He's actually going to be kind of like big Byro. So
Very soon he'll be bigger than me.
So that's some of the things we're going to try to do to give them something to do. They're always going to come here and hang out. Teenagers will hang out without any coaching or teaching. They have skills in it. Okay, but try to get them something else to do. So we brought in a friend of mine named Danielle to do yoga with them. And for those of you who don't know exactly what yoga is, it's a series of exercises that can help you release stress. There are areas in your body, and I'm kind of more, I'd say I'm an advanced student, I'm really not, but I've been doing it for a couple of years. It's helped me tremendously. There's parts of your body that hold stress, and that's what she's going to get these young people to do through the workouts. Even some of the guys here with the band said they'd like to do that to kind of cleanse themselves before they do a set.
That's the greatest thing in the world.
Somewhere, and it was real relaxing. We did about a 30-minute workout the other day, and I already saw sweat starting to come down some people, and it's just amazing how holding a little pose can get you there. One of the things they also wanted me to talk about was some statistics, and I could go on statistics for hours, and I'm really not going to do that. But one of the things that was alarming about the crime that has to do with teenagers, and that's 13 to 19, I just kind of cut it off at that, is so much of it's not reported. And for a couple reasons why, and that's maybe why I'm here as well, to let them know that the police officers are not here to try to screw them over. An alarming statistic was sexual assault. 1 in 3 reported sexual assaults are from victims aged 13 to 19, which is a pretty high number. And I would say it's probably much higher than that because of the unreported nature of it. I would, if I was going to guess, say maybe half of all sexual assaults.
Niagara Falls?
in the city of Niagara
All right,
Falls.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify.
I can't
That
speak.
should, that should drop everybody's jaw.
Yeah, it was pretty high, and then we had a large number of attempted suicides, mental health committals, juvenile problems with parents not able to control their kid from behavioral issues and stuff like that. And I could go into that. Victims of assault, this was regular assault, victims of robbery. A lot of it's because the teenagers or whoever are unsupervised in a situation and they get overtaken by some of our local thugs that are around the city. So it was pretty alarming. The underreported thing is what alarms me a little bit. There's a couple of things that irritate me. First one, I'll aim at the parents here. If you ever see a police officer and you happen to have one of these little people here with you, and you say, better behave yourself or that policeman's going to take you away, nothing irritates me more than that, because no one will help a child more than me. And so think about that before. That's my only pitch for the day, my only complaint about police stuff. Chief, does that irritate you when you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, because the police are going to help the child. We're going to drop what we're doing. So that's one thing. So I think sometimes it's ingrained that the police, and I also have to say that the police, even if we help somebody, I'm sure we've made some people's lives difficult, but even if we help people, you're always going to remember the police in a bad light, because we didn't come for a good reason. We're not. I love the firemen. They're always doing good stuff. Everyone loves firemen because they're pulling cats out of trees and helping you out, doing Toys for Tots and really cool things like that. We're always showing up when someone gets shot, someone gets robbed, someone gets something stolen, someone's a victim of, you name the crime, there's about 1 million of them. And so everyone associates the police with something bad. You know, maybe we deserve some of it, but I think that's part of the reason why some of the things that are the teens are victims of, they're underreported. And the other thing is probably a stupid campaign that you see among some of the thugs is the stop snitching. Stop snitching is only going to help the thugs. I don't need people to tattle on everyone. Oh, he looked at me and he touched me, because it happens all the way up into adults. You would not believe the neighborhood disputes that we have to go to, that some guy put grass clippings on my yard. You know, like, do I really need a police officer for that? But anyways, the teens and the young adults that we have in the room have to understand that if there is something being done to them, some sort of victimization, that they need to call the police, because the police are going to show up and at least try to address it at a beginning level. And if you are a victim, the steps you have to take, because I think Anne even said there were some things she didn't know about hepatitis. She didn't mention you. Well, there's some things that victims don't know that you have to do. You know, they think if you magically write a report, the whole world's going to change. It doesn't do anything. You got to do the next step. You got to follow up. You got to be able to identify the person. You got to remember things. You got to be able to show back up in court if it does go to court, which is difficult for teenagers to do that. So I think that's what I'm going to be trying to do, as much as Ann and Brett want me to, is show up, let them see a face of a police officer. Hopefully it's not a repulsive face for them. I can play keyboards. You guys in the band, I used to play in a band myself, so maybe I'll bring in my keyboards and
Sounds good.
we'll do a little jam session. Who's getting tricked into teaching me how to play guitar?
Cody.
You?
This is new to me, but.
Okay. Two more initiatives we're going to do is I'm going to teach them some classes and talked about. I used to teach at Niagara University something called intelligence-based policing as an adjunct professor, and I had a subclass that I even taught to faculty out there called symbology. And what we did was we looked at everything: tattoos, license plates, stickers on people's cars. Everyone put stuff on. I had a bunch of tattoos. Some of you do, whatever. Like these guys with the G-cloth right there, that tells you something about him. If I was going to profile him, I would do something, and it would start my picture. I actually do it now for Army and Marine Corps recruiters. They have people with tattoos. So there's signs, like one of my favorites, and I'll use her name because she's here. If you can think about DeVoe, there's College Avenue, there's that railroad track bridge you go underneath. Up on the top of it, it says St. Anne Rules. Okay, it's old, it's like 30 years old. Okay, I'll use Anne because she's here. Well, I was raised a Catholic, and there's some mixed emotions between the fundamentalists and the Catholics about the role of a saint. I'm not even going to get into that, but it's inappropriate for any Catholic kid to say a saint rules. Okay, and I'm not even sure that there's too many St. Annes around this area, so if you say it fast, it's Satan rules. Okay, that's a hidden thing for a satanic cult that used to practice on top of the bridge. So,
What are you saying?
that's true. If you say Saint Anne quickly, it's Satan. Okay, so Satan rules. And the rules is a giveaway. So we'll talk about some of the stuff like that. We'll talk about we'll have tattoo night. We'll all whip out our tattoos and we'll say what they all mean and stuff like that. I'll teach you gang signs. They change daily, but the concepts are the same. In addition to that, I know I've talked to a couple of the teens. Some of them are having some difficulties at school, and this is also where that lady Danielle comes in. She's in charge of instructional development in our university. And there are a lot of people in the Niagara University community, because it's a Vincentian school, they have some obligations towards charity work and things like that, that can actually come in, the teaching students that are in their master's degree program or bachelor's program, can come in and help out with GED preparation or ELA or whatever, and try to make it as fun as possible. In between boring lessons, you guys can whip out a set of some sort of slash metal or whatever you guys play. Okay, you'll get a mosh pit going, and then back to the books. And we'll go from there. So there's a variety of things, and something that can empower you teenagers as well, even, is something as simple as joining the Citizens Emergency Response Team, CERT. And that gives you a stake in your own community. And that's just an example. You can join any organization, but in the case of a disaster, and Niagara Falls is like waiting for a disaster to happen because we almost are one. Okay, so like if an ice storm hits and the power goes out, well, someone needs to help the old people get from A to B, or get the batteries to them, or whatever else, and young legs work great. So it'll give you a sense and a stake in your own community, so as you start to get older, and there's training that's free through FEMA, that they come in and do it here for you, and it gives you something else to do besides just sit around and, play bottle cat poker. Not that that's not a good thing. Not that that's not a good thing, okay? So anyways, that's really all I had. I had kind of an ADD ramble here, so which I probably have. So if anyone has any questions on me that are law enforcement or otherwise, I'll be happy to answer them. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Kay.
Hello, Kay.
I just wanted to say regarding interactions with police officers and how people feel about that. I've always told all my kids and my grandkids forever, I say, if you don't break the law, you have nothing to fear from the police. They're here to help you. Every police officer in Niagara Falls is my friend. And now,
well, thank you, friend.
And now my grandkids, we'll be driving down the street and they'll see a police car. Oh, no, look, there's your friend. Yeah, that's my friend, And I try not to let opportunities go by to thank police officers. If I see them parked in the parking lot and I walk into the store, I'm going to come up and say.
I'll tell you that the times that it has happened to me, what you said, that someone has thanked me, has had a profound effect on the rest of my day. So
yeah,
I appreciate it.
That. So I would encourage everybody to, try to, hang on to that feeling. If I'm not doing anything wrong, I have nothing to fear. I have everything to be thankful for, though, but they're there for me.
I think you're going to now secretly join our public relations group. That's great. Anything else? Yes, sir.
How are you involved in that search thing?
That's easy. The search stuff is easy. It's as simple as going on the local website and getting the representative, which I'll be happy to hook you up with.
Really cool.
And they'll come in, and a lot of the classes you can do online since we don't have internet. You can do the classes online instead of trying to find a Wi-Fi signal. It's over there. That's simple. You got to be careful though, because it doesn't take away from your schoolwork, right? That's got to come first. That's got to be like the ice cream at the end of the meal, So yeah, that's easy. I'll hook you guys up with that all you want. You get certified with it, and in case of emergency, they can call you out and bring out cots or whatever.
Yeah, cool.
So, anything else?
Can I tell you something?
Yes,
I have a
ma'am.
grandson. He's 11 now, but when he was 10, he's on medications. He's got issues, but he was hurting himself. And his counselor told his mother to call the police. More police came for that. There was like 5 or 6 of them to just talk to him.
Well,
And then they called an ambulance to have him
when
taken.
we hear a child is in some sort of distress, like probably 85 to 95% of us are parents. I mean, it just hits us like, geez, we got to do something for that. And probably the last thing I'm going to say, because I actually have to go to my yoga class, anyways, is the thing that helped me the most is I went through a program at the Dent facility up in this place with the clock along the 290. Is they checked me out to make sure I didn't have any head injuries, which I did. And being in a room with veterans and talking about some things with them helped me out a lot. And the courage that these young people have taken to come here, identify that there's some sort of issue, and kind of bond together should give everyone some hope that they're on the right track to working their way through it, because until I did that, there was no hope for me at all. And, you know, when I look back at things now, and I hope you guys too, it kind of is like looking at a movie. Like, it's like, you see me, but it's not like me anymore, so I'm okay. And you said something I thought was very helpful, that you're okay talking about some stuff, because I couldn't forever talk about anything that I experienced overseas with anyone, and you can ask me anything now, probably not the right setting to talk about some of it, but that would be the only thing that would hold me back from telling you anything you want to hear. So that's all I really have, unless there's any last questions. But I'll help out however I can, whatever you guys need to do. Okay, thanks. If you don't.